Everybody. I have a great topic today. Mr. Carmen, how are you, sir?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Awesome, all the way down there in Florida. Today, we're talking about law, right? The word law to many prospective college students, high school students who want to go into the field, we'll say high school students.
Yep,
There's a lot of variation, right?
yep.
But there's a lot of interest as to why once one wants to go into law. Let's start with this. Introduce your firm to everybody, just so we get an idea of who you are.
Well, thank you, Dr. Thomas. I appreciate you having me on the show. My name's Carmen DeLutri, just a kid from New Jersey, grew up thinking to himself, hey, what would it be like to be a lawyer? Never thinking I'd get there. But actually, I did through circumstances that happened in my life, got me to where I needed to be. And right now, we have our own law firm, DeLutri Law Group. It's all over Southwest Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Estero, Naples, Port Charlotte, Fort Myers. And we handle personal injury cases, consumer bankruptcy cases, and estate planning for our clients.
Awesome. There's a lot of variation there. I like it. But let me
Yeah,
just take a step back. You
go ahead.
said there's a lot of things that contributed, like for verbatim, but what got you to this point of wanting to go into law? What were the events?
Well, I've been practicing for 30 years, so I got a
Wow.
little memory issue. But let me remind you, as a kid growing up in New Jersey, my dad had a gas station. Across the street, there was a 7-Eleven with a little building next to it, and that was a lawyer's office. And as a kid, I could see people going into the lawyer's office, and they were wearing suits, and they were talking back in the early 70s here. And I said to my dad, Dad, what is it about the lawyer's office? Why do people dress up to go there? And he's like, well, I'll be honest with you. He goes, there people have legal problems. So I'm like, what's a legal problem? He goes, well, we fix cars. When they have a car problem, they come see us. When they have a legal problem, they got to go to an attorney to help them fix their problem. I said, so they're no different than we are. They just have a different job. And he goes, well, that's exactly right, except we work with our hands and they work with their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he said, that's what I want you to do when you get older. I don't want you fixing cars. I want you working with your brain instead of your hands.
That's awesome.
Made a
So
good impact on me.
like a mentor, right? Kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. My dad definitely.
And hopefully this will resonate with some folks around the country, because we know a lot of kids don't have mentors today, right?
Right.
Until they hear it, and we just talk about that briefly. Reading things in books and assessments really don't work as well. But in any event, what kind of personality traits? I know that's a loaded question. Does one need, if that is the best way to put it, to go into law?
Great question. Great question. And I'll tell you one thing, it comes down to one word, grit. You don't need to be the smartest kid in the room. I wasn't. You don't need to be the best speaker. I wasn't. You don't need to be the best writer, although it does help. What you
Yeah,
need is a freaking work ethic that you're not going to let anybody outwork you. And if you got that work ethic, you're going to win cases, you're going to win clients because clients, if you give a client their day in court, and they appreciate that. They respect you. Even if they lose, they know you were an upright guy and you fought like hell for them. And that's the
yeah,
key to it. If you got grit and a work ethic and you know what, you just don't like to lose. I mean,
right.
growing up, I had a brother and we competed at everything. Wiffle ball. We'd fight to see who get up the stairs faster, who can jump higher, who can do anything. The point of it is, I didn't like to lose. I don't like to lose now. I never did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about me. It's about a client who needs something, who had something taken away from them. And it's my job to go out as a gladiator and get it back for them.
Yeah, I like that. I think we lost that today, though, in terms of people standing up for themselves and grit. Let's talk about grit, though, for a second. What does that mean to a young adult? How do you acquire that? Is that taught? Is that inherited? Like, how do
The,
you get that?
I think you got to find your passion. And what's your passion about? Mine is about standing up for others. I want to give somebody back that hope that they lost. And to me, that means that gets me up in the morning, gets me out of freaking bed, gets me to work, and then it drives me until I pass out at night because somebody needs help and I'm going to be the guy to help them. So that's my fire. That's my why, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find that why and then turn it into it because you might have a passion for justice for criminals, saying, you know what, no criminal or no person who's innocent should ever go to jail. So I'm going to fight like hell because the burden of proof is, beyond a reasonable doubt. And if that jury doesn't get beyond a reasonable doubt, they should find nobody guilty. Whatever it is. If your joy is writing contracts, if your joy is, equine law where you want to advocate for horses, or you might have a thing for cryptocurrency and you want to make sure that the laws are written to protect that. It doesn't matter what it is. There's an area of law for everybody. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it. You go to law school, you learn the basics, you take the bar. Now you're an attorney. But what area do you want to go in? Some love personal injury, some love estate planning, some love bankruptcy, some love contracts, some love family law, which never just boggles my mind, but okay. Some love adoption, and I think adoption law is great law. But
Adoption.
you
Wow.
know, yeah, for some people that's their thing. But if you have a passion for it, it's out there as a lawyer. Some people go to law school just to become, on the CIA or the FBI,
Mm,
whatever it is, it's there for you. But you got to know what that is when you start, because well, I don't want to see anybody invest the money in law school if it's not going to fuel their passion.
right.
And if
Right.
it is, they're going to be unstoppable, which I love.
Yeah. I don't want to divert from this law topic, but the whole finding your passion, because we hear that a lot
Yeah.
within schools, the parents, yada yada yada. Find your passion. Find your passion. But real quick, give me a quick idea of how they would go find their passion if they don't have a passion.
Try everything.
There you
Don't
go.
be forget just leave fear on the table. I don't care if you're fearful of, going out and asking somebody for a job. Go ask. What's it going to harm? They're going to say no. A lot of people are going to say no to you. You're
Yeah.
going to fail at a lot of things. Try everything. And you know what? When you go out on your own and you practice law, guess what? You're going to make a ton of mistakes.
Hmm.
Make them, learn from them, and move forward,
I
because you
love
only
it.
live once. Fail often.
I
Because trust
love
me,
it.
I've made tons of mistakes. Ask my wife. She'll remember 5 times as many as I do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good reminder, though, even for me, right? That fear component. I think fear should drive people.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the journey from high school to college. What is that journey? The time? I wouldn't say dollar value because that varies
Yeah.
from school to school. But let's talk about that journey, like hanging in there for such a long time in
Right.
terms of years. Walk me through that education piece.
Okay. So high school, 4 years. Wherever you go, it's going to be 4 years. You got to get through that. I would focus, if you really have a passion for the law, focus on an English major,
Mm,
because your writing skills matter.
hmm.
They matter. They matter to your clients. They matter to opposing counsel. They matter to, most importantly, to a judge or an appellate judge. So get your writing down, because a lot of people are losing the art of writing a good brief, writing a good letter, writing a good argument. That's number one. Number two, while you're in high school, this may sound crazy, debate team, speech team, get yourself out there in front of people to talk.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you're afraid to get out there and talk. I thought it was great that people actually had to listen to what I had to say. I mean, maybe I had the perspective all wrong, but the point of it is, get out there and talk in front of people, get your confidence up. And the easiest way to do that is talk to yourself in a mirror,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just learn your subject cold, go out there and talk about it. And with the internet, you can assemble an argument in minutes,
Right.
figure it out, get your bullet points, and go out and talk. And then really, when you get to college, find similarly minded people who are going to help you get where you want to go.
Give me an example.
Like when I was there, criminal justice. I was a criminal justice major, and there was one professor that really inspired me, a criminal law. I forget his name now, but it was 30 something years ago. And I asked him to write me a letter of recommendation for law school. And he goes, "Don't you work in a nightclub?" And I said, "Yep." He goes, "I see on the front row of my classes, you never missed one class, did you?" I said, "No." He goes, "What time in the morning do you work till?" I said, "Probably sometimes till 5 a.m." And he said, "Well, you're here at 8 o'clock in my class and you've never missed a class." He goes, "That's the type of person I want as an attorney." But one thing he said just shocked me, and I'll never forget it. He walked out in class the first day. He goes, "I've never met a murderer I didn't like." And he had me. He
That's
had
funny.
me at that point in time because he spoke to me. And
Yeah.
this is the type of guy I want to learn from. Now,
Hmm.
again, you're going to meet people who are going to try to dissuade you.
Hmm.
If a person hasn't done what you want to do, don't take advice from them. That's it. That's what's called a Joeism. These are my dad's name, Joe, and he's got this
Hmm.
old New Jersey logic about him. Like, you know what? You don't want to hear some of them. Some of them are a little crazy, but they're like little tidbits in life that, like, and that's what I got kind of in trouble in high school, because I said to the guy who was the, what do you call it? One of them teachers who were supposed to tell you how to, get through life.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I know the guy's name. I don't want to say it because I don't want to embarrass him. But I got to him one day and he's like, "Well, Mr. Delutri, what do you want to do?" I said, "I was thinking about going to law school." He said, "Well, you'd probably be better off painting fire hydrants or something like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, coming from somebody who makes like 40K a year, Good for you, but I don't want to make that. I want to make 5 times. I want to make 100 times that. So I don't really know if you're the best guy to give me advice. Well, that got me sent to the dean of men's office real quick because I
Mm,
was being inappropriate. But the truth is, if somebody hasn't achieved the level of success you want, go find somebody who has and ask them, how did you do it? How can I do it? And this is why I love this podcast, because there's a lot of kids who may want to go to law school, but think, I'm never going to get
mhm.
there. Trust me. I was a kid from New Jersey, no special talents, no special experience, no special anything except this is what I wanted to do. Nobody could help me. My parents had high school educations. They
Right.
couldn't help me get to where I wanted to go. I didn't have the internet. I just plodded along, plodded along. And then when I became an attorney, I was too dumb to ask for help. I didn't want to ask for help because I thought, hey, what would another attorney think? Now I
Right.
say, all young attorneys out there, I tell them all the time, don't be afraid to ask me for help. I've made all the mistakes.
This is good
Learn,
because
learn from me.
definitely good because kids today can get so deflated in school with what you just said.
Yeah.
You don't have the smarts, and I think they don't say that anymore. Like they dumb you down as a diversion as to why you should not pursue something. But you are here to light the fire, and I really appreciate it. So let's talk about all right, after high school. What does the college piece look like?
College is basically 4 years where most people think they're going to go to school, drink, and have fun. But go there and learn, focus, use that time to figure out who the heck you are. And really, don't worry about what your friends think, because if you're worried about what your friends think, you got the wrong friends. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean to be a jerk. Like I had to work my way through college because I didn't take out loans and nobody was paying for me. I had to work on my own. So I didn't spend a lot of time in college. But what I did spend was working and talking to people who are a lot smarter than I was at that time, saying, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think if I went to law school? And a lot of them are saying, hey, that's a 3 year commitment and it's going to cost you a lot of money. But if you believe in yourself and you get out and you're a damn great lawyer, don't worry about the student loans because it's up to you to get out of it. How fast do you think you could pay those loans off? And I was like, whoa, I don't know. Well, you got to figure out a plan.
Right.
You got to
Mm-hmm.
figure out a plan. So college was fun, but it was a time to start getting serious about your life because you're like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and you don't know where you need to be yet. Like I didn't know in a law school when I went to law school what kind of lawyer I wanted to be. I wasn't
Wow.
there yet. Nobody knows that. I got a master's degree in international law, trade, and finance. Great education. Do I use
Yeah.
it? No. I passed the New York bar and New Jersey bar. Do I practice up there? No. I thought I wanted to be this amazing international attorney who flies all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to take the New York bar. I got off the plane in Newark Airport, and I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, I think I made a big mistake. And he just laughed and laughed,
How
saying,
old are you then? About
22,
yeah. All right.
22, 23. No, I apologize, like 25.
Uh,
And
ooh,
he's
you're
like,
old.
yeah, yeah, real old. But the point of it was, you have that opportunity. I took it. I loved it. Hey, I'm still a member of the New York and New Jersey bar. I never practiced there. But the point of it is, I thought that's where I wanted to go. But then when I knew it wasn't there anymore, pivoted and said, bam, where am I going? Then I got a job working at a personal injury firm with a great attorney who was a great mentor when it came to practicing law. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I mean, I get to stand up. Somebody was in a car accident and they lost the ability to, and take care of their family, and an insurance company doesn't want to pay them. Screw that. I'm going to go out and fight for them.
Wow.
Somebody took something from them. I'm going to get it back. And from the first pot file I picked up, I was like, that's my thing, man. Nobody's going to take something away from my client and not give it back, and then some.
You seem like
So
the type of guy who likes rejection. You
I
take a turn
feel
into positive.
yeah, you could say that. I mean, tell me no, you
Yeah.
can't have that, and I'm going to fight 5 times as hard.
I love it.
It's me. Okay, no problem. I walk away and
Heck,
I'm coming back.
you're motivating me.
Hey,
So all right. So all good stuff. 3 years of college, college, right?
for college to get your degree,
All right.
unless you're on the 5 year plan like me,
Yeah, or longer,
and
right?
then and then 3 years of law school solid.
Okay. Does it matter? Are there better or worse schools to go to? Without naming any, but
No,
how does one pick a school that is right for them?
you mean college or law school?
College.
Okay.
Well, both.
Well, in Florida, where I'm at, college is inexpensive. So I would advise anybody so that they don't come out too far behind the eight ball. To go to any college, just do your best. Okay, I don't care if I went to community college and I went to a 4-year university, well, 2 and 2, and I got a degree. Then I went to law school.
Hmm.
So it didn't matter where, nobody asks you where you went to college anymore. Nobody cares.
Right.
They don't even ask you where you went to law school. They want to know one thing: can you help me? Are
Hmm.
you the guy I can put my trust into? And if you are, they're going to hire you. And then it's up to you to live up to that. You charged a fee, you took some money for something. You better do the damn job. Because if you
Hmm.
don't, the internet will kill you. People will say, hey, look, you screwed me. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because you give me money to do a job for you, I'm going to do the damn job.
Why do you think law, and there's many professions, but since we're talking about law, sometimes get a bad rap?
Because I think all honesty, I think there's lazy attorneys
Mhm.
who take money and don't do the work for it. I think there's too many excuses in the world, and I don't like that. I don't want anybody giving me excuses. If I pay you for a job and I don't get the job, don't give me an excuse. Don't give me some garbage. There's another Joeism. When people come to you and they have a problem, you tell them the truth. If the truth's going to cost money, you tell them it's going to have cost to fix it. And if they don't have the money, you got to give them alternatives. There's people who come to me and say, Carmen, I need help. And there's times where they can't afford to pay me for that help. I feel bad about it, but I say, look, here's an alternative. Here's something you can do. So even though you can't help them, you can help them by giving them a different plan or a path. And that's what you always got to try to do. There's people who call me for cases I don't handle, but I'm still going to take time out of my day to make sure that I've given them the best legal advice I could give them, even though I can't. Even when I'm referring them to another attorney, I want to know what you can afford. Do you want a guy? Do you want a woman? Give me a city, give me a place, and I'm going to try to find you the best attorney I can help you with. So you always got to give that extra 10% or 20% on everything because you know your competitors aren't doing it. You
Mm.
know nobody's going to take the time to do it. Some guy called me the other day and he goes, I called an attorney's office and he wanted $450 just for a half an hour to talk to him. And I kind of laughed. I said, that's ridiculous. And he goes, it is. I said, well, when you call me, you're interviewing me. You're
Wow.
the client. You hold the keys to my future, not me, you. So if you want to know about me, I should be willing to give you that time to see if we're in the best possible spot. If we're not in the best possible spot, then I'm going to say, look, I think you'd be better served by another attorney. And people are shocked when you tell them that. But you
Right.
know who your best clients are, who you can provide the most value to. And when you find that relationship and you got a good client and you know you can go out there and kick butt for them, you sign them up and you give them your best work. And they will reward you by sending you referrals, by giving you good Google reviews, and by
Hmm.
just being better people, better clients for you.
You seem very well rounded. Again, with
Took a long time to get here, Dr. Thomas.
we have no vested interest, right, in terms of any cases going on between you and I. Just we're just shooting the
You want
breeze.
me to sue you? I will.
Oh goodness. Hey, why not?
You seem like a nice guy. I'd love to take your deposition.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. So I one more question, I think. So if they pass the bar exam in a state, is that transferable to another state?
No, that's
Okay,
good. That's a great question. I think a lot of people are under the misunderstanding that, once you become a lawyer, you're a lawyer everywhere. That's not true. You're only a lawyer in the state you were, where you passed the bar. Now, some states have reciprocal agreements, like for example, New York, but Florida has no reciprocal agreements with anybody. If you want to practice law in Florida, you got to pass the bar here. But
gotcha,
other states have reciprocal agreements, and that's kind of like every state's different. But I know for a fact Florida has no reciprocals with anybody.
gotcha. All right, so here's another one. Why do people get jammed up on the bar exam?
Fear.
Fear. Okay.
Fear. They just they overthink problems and they're not comfortable with the material because the bar doesn't ask normal questions. They ask ridiculous questions. And
Like what? Give me an example.
they ask you a question, they give you 4 answers and say pick the best answer. And people get wound up on that rather than looking at the problem logically and say let's get rid of two and let's focus on these two. What's the difference? It's not a test of knowledge. It's a test to test how well you take tests.
Yeah,
And
right.
and again, that's where people get bound up because you could be an excellent test taker. You can write great essays, but that doesn't help you on a multiple choice question.
Right,
So
right. All right, so let's wrap it up here. I appreciate your time. Tell me what you like best out of all the things that you do within your practice, your firm. What I know it's all of them, but just wet our whistle.
no,
What excites you? Give me an
what
example.
excites me, and this may sound absolutely horrible, but car accidents and motorcycle accidents where people get really injured and the insurance company comes back and gives me some lame excuse as to why they're only offering $50,000 on a case that should be a $500,000 case.
Mm,
It's like pouring gasoline inside of me and throwing a match.
yeah, yeah, I get
And
it.
those are the cases that really drive me bonkers. Sorry.
That's your helper.
Yep. It never ends. A revolving door.
All right. Well, listen, I
Gotta have a
appreciate your
great
time.
team. You gotta have a great team.
Yeah, yeah. Carmen, I appreciate your time and
Yeah.
definitely a lot of good stuff. Give us a plug again of who you are, your law firm, and what you do again.
Carmen Dellutri, Dellutri Law Group, estate planning, personal injury, and consumer bankruptcy in Florida. Anywhere in the state of Florida, we can handle your case.
Okay, and I'm going to put your information on there. Your social. You're doing well on TikTok. That's how I found you.
All
Right.
right.
You're, you're keeping it real. You're telling us the way it is, and you short little clips. And I think that's what works today.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate
Okay,
it.
stand by 1 second.